Throughout this season of Love is Blind, I've seen the online discourse as a therapist. The laughing, the joking, the pointing the finger. But how many people look at themselves and look at Edmond and see myself? See that I'm also like him, that I also have challenges. Now, I'm a therapist who watches a lot of reality TV, and oftentimes I see people come in this show and be exploited. Their insecurities, their trauma, being neurodivergent, all those things become entertainment for the public's eye. But what happens when they leave the show? I want to get into it all from a therapist's perspective right about now. If you are new here, I'm DenisebradyLBC. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And looking at this season, how many people actually have taken the time to remember that these people are people? That we are only getting a little bit of pieces, tiny pieces of their whole lives, of edited scenes. We're so quick to have feelings, emotions, have conversations, but I think the human side of this show really gets left behind. And I think it's okay for us to have discourse. I think it's okay for us to have conversations because, of course, these shows are going to bring out opinions, right? But what happens when your opinion hurts somebody from this show? We forget that once the show is over, people have to go back to their regular lives. And Edmond is one of those people. I feel like as a therapist, the network continues to show us that people's traumas, the things that are not right with them, the things that they still need to work on, is good entertainment. Now, some of you guys feel like he came on the show and he's upping his personality a little bit by the pushing of production, that's not who he really is, that he's acting. How could this really be who he is? Does he really eat boogers? Okay. Or did they tell him just to say that? But from a therapist, I see an individual who's a work in progress, who has some unhealed trauma, some wounds that there hasn't been room in his life to process during this show and probably before. The thing is, people forget that they might be Edmond. They might be KB. They might be Patrick. Because we're so quick to just diagnose, label them. Everyone online is a therapist now. Everyone's a psychologist. Everybody knows what's wrong with some of these people. But sometimes I think that it's easy for people to point the finger at those they see online, then turn that mirror on them and self-reflect. We're living in a generation where people just want to be entertained. And some of that is good because you want to be entertained. You want to escape the realities of politics, adulting, responsibilities, all those things, which is why sometimes we watch these shows to be entertained. But I think that we often have to look at what's beneath the surface. With Edmond, I see someone who is just stuck in a mental state that is that of a child. And I feel like Netflix saw an opportunity to, this is good TV. Let's make a mockery of this man for ratings. Let's make a mockery of this man for money. For money. Okay? We don't care what really happens to him when the show is over. We don't care about the rhetoric, the retweets, the videos made about him. The people saying like, oh, he's a crybaby. He really crying over not having some intimacy. But there are a lot of adults who have tantrums, but maybe they don't look like that. Okay. Maybe the adult tantrum is giving your partner the silent treatment. Maybe it's not returning phone calls. Okay. Maybe your tantrum is ghosting your partner. But we all have things about ourselves we need to work on. We're all works in progress, but nobody wants to sit with the progress. Nobody does. Nobody wants to look at themselves and see how maybe Edmond is me. Maybe Anna is me. Maybe Patrick represents parts of myself I don't want to sit with, I don't want to identify with. Because it would be too much to recognize some of those things I see on the TV screen with Edmond, they're me. Parts of myself that I'm not ready to sit with, but instead we point the finger. Okay? We say we want people to be more authentic. We want real people on TV. We want to see more people who look like us. Regular people. But they gave y'all that for 2 seasons. Okay? And the online discourse proves to me that nobody really wants that. Okay? Nobody does. Because if you really got yourself on TV, what do you do with it? The same thing people are doing with Edmond. Okay? Judging, laughing, critiquing. This man really crying because he couldn't get none? I wonder what was triggered in him. That unhealed hurt, the rejection piece, maybe some abandonment issues, still from that childhood, other relationships he's had with other women. But him going on this show was not a good idea. Okay? And it feels like he was plucked out of recruitment. Oh, this is a good one right here. This will give people give people something to talk about. This will give our TV show what we want. Because nowadays, if people ain't talking about you, then it's something wrong with you. When it comes to reality shows, celebrities, you want to keep people talking. Keep your name in the media no matter what. And Love is Blind is one of those shows where we have to stay relevant. And should we really be watching this show with any expectations? We're on season 9. The show hasn't been that great, as good as it could be. Season 3, season 2. Chat, let me know. Rate the worst season in the chat, okay? But I think that, Edmond has become a casualty in this reality world. People forget that these are human beings, that these are people, that they have a life outside of this. That we take our emotions, our opinions to TikTok, to other social media platforms, but forget you could be just like him. You might be dealing with some arrested development. You might be dealing with some unhealed trauma. But instead, it's let me make a mockery out of this man. For him crying. For him acting up. For him not acting like I think he should be as a man. Okay? Man should not be crying. Men should not be acting like this. Over what? Not getting some? That is the whole focal point. And I think people don't want to think deeper about what could be going on more than just a surface level edit scenes sliced together. Everyone just wants to run with their opinions, make videos, and make money. Similar to the Love is Blind Netflix franchise. Okay? But is anything really going to change? Are we ever going to see people on this show who are healthy, who are ready for marriage? Not just on Love is Blind, but other shows. Are we ever going to see healthy, successful relationships? Because I feel like we have seen some shows where that happens, but then people don't watch and they get canceled. So once again, I go back to, do people really want to see healed people getting married and being in relationships? Because healed relationships are boring. Healed relationships don't make shows. Okay? People love the toxicity. People love something to talk about that gives them a distraction from their own lives. So think about, are you a KB? Are you a Edmond? Are you a Patrick? Are you a Anna? And what happens to people's mental health when they go on a show, they put their life out there, and the world decides who you are, what you are, and begins to armchair diagnose you with things they know nothing about. And you see all that stuff. Nobody thinks about that. But I think a lot of people from a therapist perspective are Edmond. Works in progress, unhealed individuals, trying to go into a relationship and trying to find love. Everybody wants connection and support and love, but sometimes the unhealed parts of ourselves show up first. And because of those unhealed parts of ourselves, they prevent us from being in healthy relationships, and they prevent us from being seen. Okay? So ask yourself, am I dehumanizing some of these people? Do I forget that they're human beings because of my opinion, my thoughts? And have I been caught up in the armchair diagnosing of labeling some of these people? Now I want to know you guys' thoughts and opinions. Let me know in the chat what you think. Are you an Edmond? Are people afraid to admit that they are Edmond? That they are works in progress? that they have some healing to do. But is it easier to just label, point the finger, laugh, and have water cooler conversations about people they don't even know?